Shabbat Shalom, everyone. My name is Daniel, and I'm the Vegan Nazarite. Well, we're well into the fall feast days. Um, the Day of Trumpets was last week, and yesterday was the Day of Atonement, uh, Israel's most holy day of the year, when the high priest goes into the Holy of Holies and basically makes atonement for Israel. The goat and the scapegoat are released. So, since I follow Yeshua, um, Yeshua is basically everything for his followers. He's basically our high priest. He's our king. He's a king of Israel. And also, he's also my rabbi. So, the Day of Atonement is still important, but we're not as reliant on the temple and the scapegoat. Well, we can't do those anyways because there's no temple right now. So I just want to share what I do on the Day of Atonement. And it's related to a vision that I had when I was a new follower of Yeshua. So one day I had a vision of 12 elders of Israel praying together in sackcloth and ashes. And at the time, I had no idea of Israel. I had no idea of the Torah. I was literally, just like God says in Jonah, I was a man that didn't know my left hand from my right hand. So that vision really didn't not bothered me. It was perplexing to me because uh, I really didn't know what it all meant. Like, why would 12 older fellows be together praying? But one thing I did get in that vision, and it was that was very pleasing to the Father. So that basically started me on a crazy research, trying to figure out what that vision actually meant. Because, like I said before, I had no clue, no idea what Israel was. I didn't know Jacob. I didn't know Abraham. Uh, all I had done really is read the New Testament. I had read it a few times, so I was fairly familiar with the words of Yeshua and the book of Acts and all those things, but uh, I was clueless on the Old Testament stuff. So when I figured out that the Day of Atonement was important, not only is it important, it's probably the feast day that you don't want to miss, because that's when the high priest goes in and makes atonement for Israel. So I and then I started reading about the prophets, and time again, sackcloth and ashes came up. Sackcloth and ashes in the book of Daniel, in Jonah, uh, all over Kings, and we read prophets and kings uh, humbling themselves before Yah in sackcloth and ashes. So, long story short, one day I decided that on the Day of Atonement, I was going to go mourn for Israel in sackcloth and ashes. And that's basically my tradition on the Day of Atonement. And I'm hoping one day that uh, this tradition per se pans out, and I would love to see the day where there are 12 of us, one from each tribe of Israel. Uh, I would represent Naphtali, of course, because that's my tribe, uh, and one out of each of the other tribes, Manasseh, Judah, Gad, Ephraim, uh, anyways, Dan, even. Uh, so, anyways, that's my hope that one day uh, I join a group of elders of Israel who are together in sackcloth and ashes on the Day of Atonement. Uh, Considering most people don't know their tribe, that's a tall order. So I'm definitely going to need Yah's help and the Spirit's help on that one. Uh, Yeshua intercedes for us to the Father, so definitely going to need his help too to make that happen. But I'm hoping one day that God fulfills this vision, with myself included. And that's going to be a special day indeed. Anyhow, back to the Torah reading. Today we're going to be reading Tazria, which is 27 out of 52, which is going to be Leviticus 12:1 to 13:59. And the prophets this week, or the Nevi'im, is going to be 2 Kings 4:42 to 5:19. And let me just get there. I apologize for the little delay. I don't have the Tanakh open on my computer. Ain't that something? Let me go there now. Up. SNA, Tanakh, 1917. And we are going to the law. And let's go to Leviticus. And we are at Tazria, Leviticus 12:1. So let's go to chapter 12. And let's start. Close that. Make the text a little bit bigger. Chapter 12 of Leviticus. And the Lord spoke unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, If a woman be delivered and bear a man-child, then she shall be unclean 7 days. As in the days of the impurity of her sickness shall she be unclean. And in the 8th day, the flesh of his foreskin shall be circumcised. And she shall continue in the blood of purification 30 days. She shall touch no hallowed thing, nor come into the sanctuary until the days of her purification be fulfilled. But if she bear a maid child, then she shall be unclean 2 weeks, as in her impurity, and she shall continue in the blood of purification 66 days. And when the days of her purification are fulfilled, for a son or for a daughter, she shall bring a lamb of the first year for a burnt offering, and a young pigeon or a turtle dove for a sin offering, unto the door of the tent of meeting unto the priest. And he shall offer it before the Lord and make atonement for her, and she shall be cleansed from the fountain of her blood. This is a law for her that beareth, whether a male or female. And if her means suffice not for a lamb, then she shall take 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, one for a burnt offering and the other for a sin offering, and the priest shall make atonement for her, and she shall be clean. Chapter 13. And the Lord spoke unto Moses, and said unto Aaron, saying, When a man shall have in the skin of his flesh a rising, or a scab, or a bright spot, and he become in the skin of his flesh the plague of leprosy, then he shall be brought unto Aaron the priest, or unto one of his sons, the priests. And the priest shall look upon the plague in the skin of the flesh, and if the hair in the plague be turned white, and the appearance of the plague be deeper than the skin of his flesh, it is the plague of leprosy, and the priest shall look on him and pronounce him unclean. And if the bright spot be a white in the skin of his flesh, and the appearance thereof be not deeper than the skin, then the hair thereof not be turned white, then the priest shall shut him up, that he hath the plague 7 days. And the priest shall look on him on the 7th day, and behold, if the plague stay in its appearance, and the plague be not spread in the skin, then the priest shall shut him up 7 days more. And the priest shall look on him again in the 7th day, and behold, if the plague be dim, and the plague be not spread in the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him clean. It is a scab, and he shall wash his clothes and be clean. But if the scab spread abroad in the skin, after that he hath shown himself to the priest for his cleansing, he shall show himself to the priest again. And the priest shall look, and behold, if the scab be spread in the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is leprosy. When the plague of leprosy is in a man, then he shall be brought unto the priest. And if the priest shall look, and behold, if there be a white rising in the skin, and it have turned the hair white, and there be raw flesh in the rising, it is old leprosy in the skin of his flesh, and the priest shall pronounce him unclean. He shall not shut him up, for he is unclean. And if the leprosy break out abroad in the skin, and the leprosy cover all the skin of him that hath the plague from his head even unto his feet, as far as appeared to the priest, then the priest shall look, and behold, if the leprosy have covered all its flesh, he shall pronounce him clean, that he hath the plague. It is all turned white. He is clean. But whensoever raw flesh appeareth in him, he shall be unclean. And the priest shall look on the raw flesh and pronounce him unclean. The raw flesh is unclean, it is leprosy. But if the raw flesh again be turned into white, then he shall come unto the priest, and the priest shall look on him, and behold, if the plague be turned into white, then the priest shall pronounce him clean, that he hath the plague. He is clean. And when the flesh hath in the skin thereof a boil, and it is healed, and in the place of the boil there is a white rising, or a bright spot, reddish white, then it shall be shown to the priest, and the priest shall look, and behold, if the appearance thereof be lower than the skin, and the hair thereof be turned white, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is the plague of leprosy. It hath broken out in the boil. But if the priest look unto it, and behold, there is no white hairs therein, and there be no lower than the skin, but be dim, then the priest shall shut him up 7 days. And if he spread abroad in the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a plague. But if the bright spot stay in its place, and it not be spread, it is the scar of the boil, and the priest shall pronounce him clean. Or when flesh hath in the skin thereof a burning by fire, and the quick flesh of the burning become a bright spot, reddish white, or white, then the priest shall look upon it, and behold, if the hair in the bright spot be turned white, and the appearance thereof be deeper than the skin, it is leprosy. It has broken out in the burning, and the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is the plague of leprosy. But if the priest look on it, and behold, there be no white hair in the bright spot, and it be no lower than the skin, but be dim, then the priest shall shut him up 7 days. And the priest shall look upon him on the seventh day. If it is spread abroad in the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is the plague of leprosy. And if the bright spot stay in its place, and be not spread in the skin, but be dim, it is the rising of the burning, and the priest shall pronounce him clean, for it is the scar of the burning. And when a man or woman hath a plague upon the head, upon the beard, and the priest shall look on the plague, and behold, if the appearance thereof be deeper than the skin, and there be in it yellow thin hair, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a scall. It is leprosy of the head or of the beard. And if the priest look on the plague of the scall, and behold, the appearance thereof be not deeper than the skin, and there be no black hair in it, then the priest shall shut him up that hath the plague of the scall 7 days. And in the seventh day the priest shall look on the plague, and behold, if the scar is not spread, and there be in it no yellow hair, and the appearance of the scall be not deeper than the skin, then he shall be shaven, but the scall shall he not shave, and the priest shall shut him up that he hath the scall 7 days more. And in the seventh day the priest shall look on the scall, and behold, if the scall be not spread in the skin, and the appearance thereof be not deeper than the skin, and the priest shall pronounce him clean, and he shall wash his clothes and be clean. But if the scall spread abroad in the skin after his cleansing, then the priest shall look on him, and behold, if the scall be spread in the skin, the priest shall not seek for yellow hair, he is unclean. But if the scall stay in its appearance, and black hair be grown up therein, the scall is healed, he is clean, and the priest shall pronounce him clean. And if a man or a woman have in the skin of their flesh bright spots, even white bright spots, then the priest shall look, and behold, if the bright spots in the skin of their flesh be of a dull white, it is a tedder. It hath broken out the skin. He is clean. And if a man's hair be fallen off his head, he is bald, yet he is clean. And if his hair be fallen off from the front part of his head, he is forehead bald, yet he is clean. But if there be in the bald head or in the bald forehead a reddish white plague, it is leprosy breaking out in the bald head of his bald forehead. Then the priest shall look upon him, and behold, if the rising of the plague be of reddish white in the bald head, or in his bald foreheads, as the appearance of leprosy in the skin of the flesh, he is a leprous man. He is unclean. The priest shall surely pronounce him unclean. His plague is in his head. And the leper, in whom the plague is, his clothes shall be rent, and the hair of his head shall go loose, and he shall cover his upper lip, and shall cry, unclean, unclean. All the days wherein the plague is in him, he shall be unclean. He is unclean. He shall dwell alone, without the camp shall his dwelling be. And when the plague of leprosy is in a garment, whether it be a woolen garment or linen, in the warp or in the woof, whether there be of linen or of wool, in a skin or in anything made of skin, if the plague be greenish or reddish in the garment, or in the skin, or in the warp, or in the woof, or anything of the skin, it is the plague of leprosy. It shall be shown unto the priest, and the priest shall look upon the plague, and shut up that which hath the plague 7 days. And he shall look upon the plague on the 7th day. If the plague be spread in the garment, or in the warp, or in the woof, or in the skin, whatever service skin is used for, the plague is a malignant leprosy. It is unclean. And he shall burn the garment, or the warp, or the woof, whatever it be of wool, or of linen, or anything of skin, wherein the plague is, for it is a malignant leprosy. He shall burn it in the fire. And if the priest shall look, and behold, the plague is not spread in the garment, or in the warp, or in the woof, or in anything of the skin, then the priest shall command that they wash the thing wherein the plague is. And he shall shut it up 7 days more. And the priest shall look after the plague is washed, and behold, if the plague have not changed its color, and the plague not spread, it is unclean. Thou shalt burn it in the fire. It is a fret, whether the bareness be within or without. And if the priest look, and behold, the plague be dim after the washing thereof, then he shall rend it out of the garment, or out of the skin, out of the warp, or out of the woof. And if it appears still in the garment, or in the warp, or in the woof, or anything of the skin, it is breaking out. Thou shalt burn it, that wherein the plague is, with fire. And the garment, or the warp, or the woof, or whatever thing the skin it be, which thou shalt wash, if the plague be departed from them, then it shall be washed the 2nd time, and ye shall be clean. This is the law of the plague of leprosy, and a garment of wool or linen, or in the warp, or in the woof, or in anything of the skin, to pronounce it clean, or to pronounce it unclean. So, 1359, we just finished the Torah reading, kind of a short one this week. I just want to go back. So, if you're a Christian and you're wondering about the law, because you've been taught by every pastor or priest or whatever Christian fellowship you follow, well, guess what? The law is eternal. That's my testimony. And the only time I can see the law ever being unnecessary would be in Revelation. We read that New Jerusalem comes down from the heavens, and Israel will be forever with God and Yeshua. So that's about the only time I can think that the Torah won't be needed anymore. First of all, Revelations says that the sacrificial system is over because Yah and Yeshua are the light of New Jerusalem. So there's really no need for sacrificing bulls and goats and sheep or doves or all the other clean animals. So that's the law. And yes, there are things like what we just read today about leprosy that probably aren't applicable anymore. I know in Canada here, leprosy is pretty much been wiped out. So, but you never know. We might, through the end times or Jacob's trouble, have to go back. We might lose some technology. We might have to go back to the Dark Ages. Who knows? And these things might need to be done again. So we really don't know. And if you're wondering, because the priest told you that the law is dead and we don't need to do all that stuff, guess what? We read at the beginning of the Torah reading today, about a woman delivering a child, and she is unclean uh, for different periods of time, whether she is delivering a man or a woman child. Um, well, if you go into, I think it's Luke, if I remember correctly, this is exactly what Mary did when she bore Yeshua. Uh, when Yeshua was born, she went straight, as soon as she was able to be clean, went straight to the temple, and uh, we can tell that Yeshua's family they weren't very rich because they actually, she actually gave two doves to be sacrificed to end her uncleanliness. So the law, if Yeshua and his family do the law, well, that should speak volumes to you. If the law was good enough for Yeshua, uh, why shouldn't we do it also? Uh, Now, you might, the other side of that argument, oh, Yeshua fulfilled the law. Well, uh, he fulfilled many prophecies about himself in the law and the prophets. I can think of Deuteronomy 18 comes to mind because he is the Messiah. He's the one that Moses told us that we have to listen to his every word or be cut off from Israel. So that's one prophecy fulfilled. Some of them in Isaiah. I think it's Isaiah 63 or 53. Even my wife and I were reading Jeremiah yesterday, and there's even some messianic prophecies in Jeremiah as well. So, look, I would be a false witness if I would tell you that the law is over. The law is the law, and it is eternal. Maybe in Jerusalem, we won't need the law anymore. And I'm just thinking about this in a logical way. Everybody will be part of Israel. New Jerusalem has the 12 gates named by the 12 tribes and also by the 12 apostles. So everybody will be changed incorruptible, as Paul speaks in some of his writings. So the law will probably, fall to a lesser importance. And secondly, if you have a question on the law, Yeshua and Yah will be right there anyways. So why you don't really need to look up the law, just go back to the master and the creator, and they will be there with us. So that said, that's about it for the Torah reading today. Let's move on to 2 Kings 4:42 to 5:19. 2 Kings. First King, Second King, 4:42. Let's go there. 4:42. To 5:19. Okay. 4:42. And there came a man from Baal Shalisha and brought the man of God bread of the first fruits, 20 loaves of barley, and fresh ears of corn in his sack. And he said, Give unto the people that they may eat. And his servant said, How should I set this before 100 men? But he said, Give the people that they may eat. Thus saith the Lord, They shall eat, and they shall leave thereof. So he set before them, and they did eat, and left thereof, according to the word of the Lord. Now Naaman, captain of the host of the king of Adam, was a great man with his master, and held in esteem, because by him the Lord had given victory unto Adam. He was also a mighty man of valor, but he was a leper. And the Arameans had gone out in bands and had brought away captive out of the land of Israel a little maid, and she waited on Naaman's wife. And she said unto her mistress, Would that my Lord were with the prophet that is in Samaria, then would he recover of his leprosy. And he went in and told his Lord, saying, Thus and thus, and the maid that is of the land of Israel. And the king of Aram said, Go now, and I will send a letter unto the king of Israel. And he departed and took with him 10 talents of silver, and 6,000 pieces of gold, 10 changes of raiment, and he brought the letter to the king of Israel, saying, And now, when this letter is come unto thee, behold, I have sent Naaman my servant to thee, that thou mayest recover him for his leprosy. And it came to pass, when the king of Israel had read the letter, that he rent his clothes, and said, Am I God to kill and to make alive, that this man doeth unto a man of his leprosy? But consider, I pray you, and see how he seeketh an occasion against me. And it was so, that when Elisha, the man of God, heard that the king of Israel had rent his clothes, that he sent to the king, saying, Wherefore hast thou rent thy clothes? Let him come now to me, and he shall know that there is a prophet in Israel. So Naaman came with his horses and with his chariots, and stood at the door of the house of Elisha. And Elisha sent a messenger unto him, saying, Go and wash in the Jordan 7 times, and thy flesh shall come back to thee, and thou shalt be clean. But Naaman was wroth, and went away, and said, Behold, I thought, he will surely come out to me, and stand, and call on the name of the Lord his God, and wave his hand over the place, and recover the leper. Are not Amana and Pharpar, the rivers of Damascus, better than all the waters of Israel? May I not wash in them and be clean? So he turned and went away in a rage. And his servant came near and spoke unto him, and said, My father, if the prophet had bid thee to do some great thing, would thou not have done it? How much rather then than he said to thee, Wash and be clean? Then he went down and dipped himself 7 times in the Jordan, according to the saying of the man of God, and his flesh came back like the flesh of a little child, and he was clean. And he returned to the man of God, he and all his company, and came and stood before him, and he said, Behold now, I know that there is no God in all the earth but in Israel. Now therefore, I pray thee, take thee a present of thy servant. But he said, As the Lord liveth, before whom I stand, I will receive none. And he urged him to take it, but he refused. And Naaman said, If not, yet I pray thee that there be given unto thy servant 2 mules, burden of earth, for thy servant will henceforth offer neither burnt offerings nor sacrifice unto other gods, but unto the Lord. In this thing the Lord pardon thy servant. When my master goeth in the house of Rimmon to worship there, and he leaneth on my hand, and I prostrate myself in the house of Rimmon, when I prostrate myself in the house of Rimmon, the Lord pardon thy servant this thing. And he said unto him, Go in peace. And he departed him some way. All right, so we just read in Leviticus all the things that make a man unclean due to leprosy. And now we see Elisha, a prophet of Yah, basically healing the captain of the guard. I find it funny, first of all, the response of the king. The king basically thinks he's being challenged and being tested by this other king. Why would we think like that? Why didn't the king just send him to Elisha? Who knows? And then there's the other response. The captain, who's basically going to get healed from leprosy, goes off in a rage because all Elisha tells him is to go in the river 7 times. Yeah. We are all proud people in some ways, myself included. I've completely misread some speech and actions of others, thinking that I myself am put to the test somehow, when a lot of times it's just basically conversation. So I see myself in the captain, and maybe I should be a little bit more open-minded when somebody speaks to me. So anyhow, there we go. Yah and Yeshua, mind you, both Yeshua and Elisha were able to heal lepers. And there's many cases in the gospel, the account of Yeshua, of him healing lepers, even groups of lepers. So there you go. Yah is truly the God of the living, and that's basically the only deity we need to worship. So I hope everybody had a good Day of Atonement. I hope Yah forgave your sins as we are supposed to get on the Day of Atonement. We are refreshed for another year. And the last feast day coming up is the 7th day or 8 days of Sukkot, coming up very soon, in about a week. So until then, I want to wish everybody a good Shabbat Shalom. May you be blessed in your studies of the Torah. May you be blessed in your studies in the words of Yeshua. He is the master after all, and he is our teacher, and he is the king, and he is he's our king, master, and our rabbi. Anyhow, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Have a good start of Sukkot, and may you be blessed in Yah.